Hi, I'm Dave Epstein. Welcome to this edition of Growing Wisdom. Today we're going to talk about Iris reticulata. This is a bulb that's an iris. So unlike some of the other irises you may be familiar with, this blooms in early spring and is very small. Iris reticulata is a species variety, as they call it, and it's a very small iris. So unlike some of the other irises you see, like the bearded irises, which bloom in the late spring and summer, which are bigger flowers and taller, these are much smaller. They're much more a bulb that you want to plant in the front of the border, and it's a very early blooming bulb. This is going to bloom not too long after the snow melts. Sometime in late March or even April, this bulb will come up. So this bulb says it comes back every year. The one thing I will mention is that in some years I have found that it doesn't return as well, so I have to replant it again. But it is such a great little bulb that comes back so early in spring, about when the crocuses are blooming and some of those early daffodils. So it really does give you a pop of color in the front of the border early on during the growing season. There's nothing magical about planting bulbs. You want to plant these bulbs about 3 inches deep. The pointy part is the top part of the bulb. The flatter part is the bottom part of the bulb. If you look at it, it's almost shaped a little bit like an egg. When you put these bulbs in, since they're small, I tend to clear an area and then plant them in cookie sheet fashion. So I clear an area, say that's a foot by a foot, and then put a bunch of them in one little area. That will give me a clump of color later on in the spring. So all the bulbs benefit from a little bit of fertilizer upon planting. Since we're doing these in what I call cookie sheet fashion, it's a little bit easier to put the fertilizer in. Another thing about the bulbs is if it's not moist where you are, you do want to water them in. However, fall, many areas do get adequate rainfall. The bulbs are very hardy. These particular bulbs are hardy to -50, so that takes care of much of the country. Fall is the right time to plant the bulbs. You can wait until early winter if you can still get into the ground. However, the bulbs tend to need a little bit of time to put those roots out so they survive better for the entire spring. Iris reticulata, a great little variety of bulb you may not be familiar with, and if you love an iris-looking flower, this is a wonderful one for early spring. For Growing Wisdom, I'm Dave Epstein.